Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of art, it's the Tenet Podcast. I'm Todd Pearson, coming to you from the 40 West Arts District here in Lakewood, Colorado. And joining me from the bowels of his art bunker on the road of enchantment, you know him as quite possibly the most interesting man in the world, my partner and friend, Wes Brown.
Oh my God, Todd, how you doing tonight? We're getting the storm of the century out there. We're talking 10 to 24 inches of snow in the next couple of days.
I was going to ask you about that because you mentioned none of that yesterday when I saw you. And then I went home and I talked to my wife and she said, they're going to get a blizzard up there.
It's going to be worse than last week.
Did you know that was coming?
They kind of talked about it last week that, we were going to get some snow on Tuesday and Wednesday. It's already started. Nothing's, in the grass it's accumulating there, but, it'll be interesting. I'm going to have a couple days off of work.
That's what it sounds like.
Snow day.
Snow day.
Snow day.
Funnest day in Springfield history.
There you go. So how you doing, Todd?
I'm doing good. We're supposed to get a little snow here tomorrow, but nothing like what you guys are getting. So you can have it.
All right.
Better you than me, Wes Brown. I know.
I think it's supposed to be in the 60s next week. So
yeah,
what the heck?
That's just the way it's been going the whole entire winter for you guys, right?
I know. It's just been crazy, but we'll take it. What the heck?
Hey, we all need the water. We live in the West.
Right.
So
that's right. That's for sure.
Or you're in the Midwest if we're talking about South Dakota. The Great Plains.
The Great Plains.
All right. Should we get going here?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Thank you for joining us. Remember, you can always find out what we're up to via our social media on Instagram at Tenet Podcast, our Tenet Podcast Facebook page, and of course, our website, tenetpodcast.com. And I also want to remind you that if you live in the United States, the deadline is fast approaching to enter the Gilpin County Arts Association 76th Annual Juried Art Show. It's the longest continuous running juried show in Colorado and the Midwest. You just need to go to CaFÉ, callforentry.org, and search Gilpin County Arts Association. There you can find all the rules and information. It's open to 2D, 3D, mixed media, and photography. You can also find out more info by going to gilpinarts.org, and I have a link for the call for entry on our Tenet Facebook page. Entry deadline is April 15th. So all you procrastinators, all you artists, get on it, shake a leg, and don't hesitate. All right. You ready to jump on that art train, Wes Brown?
Let's do it. Let's get on it.
You know where we're headed this week?
I think we're going to Gilpin County.
Going to the historic city of Central, otherwise known as
Central
City.
Central City. You know why? You know why, Wes Brown?
I do not know why it's called Central City.
Because I've heard tell that there's gold in them there hills, and that gold is in the form of the Gilpin County Arts Association. Joining us this week on the podcast is Art Gallery Manager, Curator, and Vice President of the Gilpin County Arts Association, Michele Roussel, and President of the Gilpin County Arts Association, Eric Miller. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I almost got my gold panning pan out because you said there was gold in them hills.
Do you have a gold pan?
I do not.
Okay.
You can get one anywhere up here. You can get one at the Heidi mine, the Argo mine.
Do you have one of those funky like sourdough hats?
I don't, but I think I got a Christmas list coming up. So we're going to do that.
Well, and a birthday.
We'd love to have you visit. And Central City has always been known as the richest square mile on earth. And when the gold strike happened here in 1859, this area of Colorado, at least the Eastern Front Range, was still part of the Kansas Territory. And when a guy named John Gregory made that initial gold strike in 1859, by basically gold panning his way up Clear Creek Canyon from the established communities that were in Auraria and Cherry Creek, and what it was now known as Denver. And when he made that strike, that kicked off basically the first permanent settlement in this Colorado region. And within a year of that gold strike, there were 10,000 gold miners that came up from all parts of the country and the world and basically established what we see here today. So it's a very fascinating and historic area, and they call Central City the heart of Colorado, or I've heard Gilpin County referred to as the cradle of Colorado. So the very beginning of history as far as European settlement here began right here in Central City, right where we're at. And in fact, where the gallery is located, it's in one of the oldest continuously publicly used buildings in the state of Colorado. That was built in 1861, 62, 64.
It was established in 64, but I think they completed it in 63.
Yeah, and our art gallery, part of it is one of the original territorial courtrooms in the state of Colorado, where a lot of the early mining laws were discussed, and some of the first official government activity in what we know now as the state of Colorado happened right here in our building in this gallery. So it's pretty neat place, and we really love that we can be here.
Lots of dual history to this building.
Yeah, that's
absolutely fascinating. I'm trying to envision 10,000 people flocking into that area to mine for gold. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah,
me too. It gets busy enough. Like when you live here year round, it's nice and quiet in the winter, but then the summer comes and you've got an influx of tourism and visitors, and it doesn't even come close to what they saw coming in on a daily basis back then. So I couldn't imagine.
You still get a sense of those old days in Central City, because the town, Central City, is a national historic district, not a state historic district. So there's a lot of the buildings and stuff that are still here that date. For instance, Washington Hall, where we're at now, that date back to those very early days. So it's just neat to see the city that's kind of frozen in time. I mean, as far as the architecture and the layout of the town, it's very reminiscent of what some of those pioneers experienced. So you get that sense when you visit Central City, and really there's nothing like it. And I've been to Deadwood, and I've been to Jerome, Arizona, and I've been to Virginia City, Nevada, and Bodie, California, because I'm very interested in not only art, but Western history and gold mining. And after living here for 27 years now, it's been a big part of my interest in living here, is connecting with that history.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, we kind of share that in common, as I'm a huge history buff, and, living in the Black Hills and close to Deadwood, and, I'm like 20 some miles, well, probably like 30 miles from Deadwood. But I love hearing the old stories, and, they're still panning here today too. So, and we still have some active gold mines, the Wharf Homestake mine, which was one of the largest producing mines in the world. They closed down and now has the Sanford lab. But I find that time of history is really cool, from the 1840, late 1840s with the California gold rush, 50s with the Colorado, and then the 1870s with Black Hills. It's just a fascinating time.
Yeah, it's definitely, that pioneer spirit of America, that Western expansion. I mean, like the real
American dream.
Yeah, not only that, but the American West and the expansion of that with the Louisiana Purchase. It's an amazing time in American history. Some might say it's not, because of the Native Americans and things that happened on that level, but it's neat, because a lot of cities, a lot of small towns, a lot of them are ghost towns now, or those gold mining settlements that just kind of, went by the wayside. And the towns that are, for instance, San Francisco and some of the other old Western towns, a lot of them have been razed. A lot of things have, been torn down and rebuilt. Even in Denver, there's the real true historic buildings are kind of few and far between because of urban development and so on. So Central City itself is like a little time capsule. And when you walk down the main street with all those old neat commercial buildings, you really get a sense, and myself with being interested in the history of the area and specifically Central City, I've collected a lot of old photographs. I have probably one of the largest privately held collections of historic ephemera from Central City Blackhawk, which I have a whole collection of old photographs, cabinet card portraits, newspapers, anything on paper that I've been able to find that is related to this area and specifically to Central City. I've picked up on it, whether it was in a dumpster or on an online auction or wherever. And I've amassed this collection. But what's neat about it is to be able to take a piece of paper or a canceled check from 1876 or a billhead from an old grocery store up here from 1920. You can still take that piece of paper and connect it with the physical building that's still here today. So that's been a fun thing. Besides my love of art, of course, is the history thing. So it's been a great combination for me with the Gilpin County Arts Association to be in this old building. And I actually have documents in my collection, court records, summons, things of that nature, county related paperwork that originated in this building. So that's kind of a fun connection to take the present and connect that back to the old days. So
yeah, that's amazing.
So Eric, you're like the official, unofficial town historian. Is that correct?
Totally unofficial. Yeah.
But if you have questions, he can most likely answer them.
Yeah. It's been a fun thing for me. And I've got, the Central City Opera, for instance, one part of my collection, I've got a piece. The opera was established in 1932. The Opera House, which is right across the street from our gallery, one of the most beautiful opera houses in the state of Colorado, that kind of went into disrepair. It was built in 1878 and it ran strong. But once the gold mining and stuff kind of died out at the turn of the century, and then by the Great Depression, Central City was pretty much a ghost town. So like we discussed earlier, it went from 10,000 people, and then 25, 30 years later, it went down to a population of under 1,000. So the town was really in disrepair. Then some of, like the kind of socialites and kind of the well-to-do Ann Evans, who was the daughter of Governor Evans, the governor of Colorado in the 1920s and 30s, and some of the other well-to-do people, they came up with an idea to basically have the Opera House donated to the University of Denver. And then in 1932, they established the Central City Opera Association. And then that's been running strong ever since. And it's a world-renowned opera company. They have their festival every summer, which is a great time for us here at the gallery. And we've had a great relationship with the Central City Opera Association over the years. We've been doing a plein air event with them for the past 4 or 5 years in Central City. But the point being is that Central City Opera, I have a piece of paper from every year from 1932 to the present, whether I have a whole file cabinet full of play programs, ticket stubs, correspondence, billheads, letters, all kinds of stuff. So that's a pretty neat piece of my collection. And I've actually got an original Teller House, which is the hotel right across the street, the old hotel that the Central City Opera Association owns as well. And I've got an original hotel register from 1934 to 1937 that has all of the opera stars from that time. When they came into town, they stayed at the hotel at the Teller House. And that's a pretty rare piece in my collection that I covet. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah,
That is
amazing.
so cool. Yeah.
If you're familiar with movies at all, like some of the older movies too, The Duchess and the Dirtwater Fox was filmed here in all of those, they used all those buildings in that film. as well with Goldie Hawn.
Oh, okay.
The opening scene, you get a real quick glimpse at the gallery, but back then there were some garage doors on the front of it, so probably why they didn't focus on it for too long.
Yeah, it was
But that's a fun movie
1978,
too. 74, I think.
74.
I want to say.
Yeah, with the young Goldie Hawn. Yeah,
I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they filmed in the Belvedere Theater, which the town is trying to bring back. The Belvedere Foundation is working hard to kind of breathe some life back into that as well. So
it's a classic spaghetti western.
Yeah, definitely spaghetti western.
So what's the current population of Central City? Do you know off the top of your head?
720, I heard the other day.
Let's just say between 800 and 1,000 people. And then in the city of Blackhawk, our sister city right down the road, there's probably about 100 residents there. But one fascinating fact I'd like to point out about those two numbers is that, let's say, being generous, there's 1,500 permanent residents in Central City and Blackhawk, but yet with the casino industry that is here, that's been here for about 32 years. The legalized gambling was approved in 1991, October 1. Shortly after Deadwood. I think Deadwood legalized gambling in 1989.
Yeah, something like that.
With the small population here, the two cities employ probably 15,000+ people. So it's a really unique situation to have that really small town, mountain, Colorado environment. But yeah, with the casinos, there's endless job opportunities. There's 24, if you choose to do something like that. There's just tons of stuff going on up here and activity, 24/7. If, you're into gambling, which a lot of visitors to Central City, we get mixed reviews about it. But had it not been for that gambling initiative in 1991, these two towns, I don't think would have existed much longer the way they were, kind of relying on summer tourist traffic, but all the buildings up here were just getting so decrepit. And it's the same situation in Deadwood. Whether you like gambling or not, obviously millions of people do. It's astonishing how many people come up here to gamble. But it's provided a unique opportunity for the city to kind of move forward and have all of those old historic buildings been now brought up to code because of the casino industry and to have a commercial business in there. So it's kind of preserved the town, for future generations, whether you're into gambling or not. And it's also been very beneficial for us with the Gilpin Arts Association, because we get a lot of traffic, we get, a lot more attention that we normally wouldn't. So,
but we're not just gambling up here, though. We've got some great trails and new trailways through Blackhawk, and
it's a great mix, with the history, with the opera, with the gambling,
the arts.
But again, it's a small little sleepy town that's up in the middle of the mountains. So of course, in winter things are a little bit slower here, and we rely on that tourism traffic, whether they're gamblers or not. So we experience some of the same other problems that small towns in the Western United States that basically rely on tourism for their existence, so.
Yeah. And the cool thing about it too, is you guys are really close to Denver. So it's just a short drive to get up there.
Yeah.
It's about a 40-minute drive.
Yeah. It's perfect. Like, you're far enough away from it. I always say you're far enough away from the rat race, but close enough. If you need something, it's central. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And by the way, Central City got its name because of its central location between some of the other mining towns that are in the area. Roussel Gulch is to kind of the west of us, and then the next closest town is Nevadaville, which is now a ghost town, which I actually got a really rare pharmacy bottle from Nevadaville that I've never seen before recently. But and then you have Central City and then Blackhawk. So Central City basically got its name because of its central location to the other environs that surround the city.
Yeah, cool.
So gambling, the casino industry really kind of helped save Blackhawk and Central City. Like, they probably would have eventually just disappeared. It's been a
Well,
good thing.
that depends on who you ask. I mean, as far as the
revenue, it worked. It helped with revenue.
Yeah. It definitely bolstered, the city's coffers, of course. And Blackhawk is now pretty much the king of, Colorado gaming. And in fact, they probably have about a 75% share of the gaming market between Central City, Blackhawk, and Cripple Creek. There's also a couple Native American casinos down in the Four Corners that were approved at that same time. But as far as the buildings are concerned, absolutely. The infrastructure of the two cities, including Cripple Creek, absolutely. It brought everything up, to a more modern standard. But at the same time, when the casinos came in, it kind of wiped out that small town America, the family aspect of Blackhawk and Central City, as far as people coming up here to raise their families or people that were employed in the mining industry. After World War II, that pretty much ceased, and the town pretty much relied on tourism, and pretty much the impetus to the gambling was that we want to approve this to not only bring income into the cities, but in order for the cities to survive, I guess you could call gambling like a necessary evil.
Yeah.
So it changed certainly the dynamic, and you have a lot of people that visit Central City and they say, "Oh man, we used to come up here in the '70s, and we used to come up to the honky tonks up here in the 1980s, and the gambling just ruined the town, and it." It's not the same city that it used to be, but just like people, you have to evolve and adapt in order to keep things moving. So
it takes a special kind of person, I think, to live here year round.
Or crazy.
Yeah. A little bit of both.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. There's no gas station here. There's no bank. There's no grocery store. There's
no hair salon.
Yeah, no hair salons. No Bed Bath and Beyond. The nearest Walmart's like 20 miles away.
Which isn't bad.
Yeah, but for us that live here, it's kind of nice not having,
crazy.
Yeah, it's you just kind of learn to live without it, and quite frankly. It's actually cheaper because you're not constantly popping into Bed Bath and Beyond or
Right.
Chick-fil-A or wherever to spend money. So
you think they'll sponsor us? You plugged them pretty good.
Yeah, well, I would be okay with that. But so when we go to the grocery store, like a lot of other people that live in rural America, we got to make sure we have a list and we pick everything up that we need for however long, or if we're going to do a home repair and the Home Depot's like 25 minutes away, and if you forget one washer, you're kind of screwed. Yeah.
So I imagine that it's a very close-knit community. Is that true?
Totally.
I feel like it is.
Yeah, totally.
I love it.
It's definitely small enough, like I said, they call it the richest square mile on earth. So pretty much the plat of the city is only a mile, so I wouldn't say everybody knows everybody, but certainly
at least knows of them.
Yeah, you see people. I've seen people at the post office for 20 years that I still haven't quite caught their name, but I know they live here. But certainly as far as the Gilpin County Arts Association is concerned, our local support has always been fabulous. Our board of directors is made up of people. We have some people from outside of the community, but generally the core of people that get involved with us and the core of people that attend our openings and our shows.
Support our fundraisers. I mean, it is our neighbors that do that, and they are the pretty much the backbone of it when it comes to supporting our events. for sure.
Are they big art buyers? Sometimes they are, but we, absolutely feel like we're a tight knit community. And certainly we found that out, I guess 3 years ago about this time. We were all masked up in a lockdown situation. So it was really interesting, and it was kind of eerie, to be honest with you, because in the 20, 25 something years I've lived here, I have never seen these casinos shut down, or have never seen, people wandering around town and driving through town. So when the shutdown happened, we really got a sense of that community. And in fact, I kind of compared it to, well, like, wow, this is what life must have been like up here in the 1800s, where
it was easy to get used to, though. I hate to say it.
Yeah. Where where it was just the people in Central City, there was nobody coming and going out of town. Yeah. So
you very rarely saw people out in the county.
Yeah.
It's pretty much just the folks that live and walk and
And it was actually a pretty good year for us as far as the art gallery was concerned. It was pretty surprising.
So that was an interesting year, because when all of this happened, we shut down, and the board would, correspond either through meetings or emails, and nobody knew what was going to happen, and everybody was shutting down. It was like a panic kind of reaction. And I remember sending an email, and we had a lot of older women on our board. They probably didn't know what I was talking about, but I was like, Goonies never say die. Like, we're not doing this. We made it through tuberculosis. We made it through polio. The gallery is not going to shut down for a cold. So we went through with it, and then we wound up opening the Juried show to all 50 states. And I think the response we had that year was fantastic. And we wound up, Eric had and a couple other people on the board, they decided, like, hey, let's do a Halloween fundraiser. So we went and did a Halloween fundraiser, and we followed all of the guidelines and everything else. And we were really surprised with how many people came out. And I think that it also brought people that didn't even know we were here. So I think we were lucky that we didn't give up during that time. We had a great response with our Juried show and everything.
And after the next couple of years, I think everybody was really
dying to do something.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, even the next year, people were like impulsively buying art, and I sold a lot of things that were colorful and bright, and I kind of saw a direct correlation to that. Being locked in for a year, staring at a bare wall, or just wanting something to inspire you. And I think we did pretty well, considering the challenges that were at hand. And then and because we stayed open, we celebrated our 75th year last year, which was a diamond jubilee, which was a lot of fun. So this year makes 76 years strong.
Yeah. And we'd love to talk more about the history of the Arts Association. And we did, like Michele said, we had our Diamond Jubilee last year, our 75th anniversary. So that, again, with the history of the town and the history of the Arts Association here, we really, as far as our board is concerned, and myself personally, we really feel a sense of stewardship to continue, even though we're operating on a shoestring. Basically, we still feel like this is an important aspect of Central City, and we want to do our best to continue all the work that our predecessors have done for the past 75 years. Yeah. It's quite a legacy.
It's not just a job. I mean, your heart has to be involved here, or else you just don't show up. I mean, it's one or the other. So.
And it's a little different type of a situation, because we're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we have a paid membership. And basically what our mission is, and what the mission has always been, is to give not only Gilpin County artists, but Colorado artists a place to showcase their work. So that's the main aspect of it. But then we're also kind of a blend of a for-profit art gallery, so we have your traditional art gallery setting, but then we also have, the membership aspect of it too. So it's kind of a blend of, a couple, like two different things. And it's really I wouldn't say it's a unique situation because there's plenty of, pastel associations and arts associations. But the difference with us is we have this historic, beautiful gallery to showcase all that work and to bring people in and, promote the artists that are within. And we have a section of our gallery that's, specifically for our memberships.
So years ago, at least up until the 71st year, so I think the 70th year anniversary of the gallery, they did a fundraiser to raise money for heat, to put heat in. So typically we were just here maybe 3 months out of the year, and that was every season, and it was consecutive every season. And then a few years back, we installed heat, which brought us to being open year round and being able to add more shows and activities and things like that. And with what happened with COVID and the shutdowns, also gave us an opportunity to make new relationships, like with the Colorado Watercolor Society. This will be the 3rd year they'll be doing their Colorado show here. We've had fundraisers for other people, not just our own. So the High Country Auxiliary does their fundraiser here now. You have both political groups. We're middle of the road. We don't show favoritism one way or the other. So the Democrats do their fundraisers here. We have the Republicans that do some of their meetings here, Christmas parties, things like that. So going year round, the future looks a lot different for this gallery. Just need more funding. Any listeners out there? We need a lot more funding.
Yeah. But it's always traditionally, it started off as a courthouse and kind of in that vein.
Just opera season, it was open.
Once the courthouse, they built a new courthouse in 1900 right up the street here. So the county offices moved from this building up the street, and then it served as City Hall. There was a public library in the building. The fire department was in the building.
1874, they used to do their Christmas tree lighting here.
Mm-hmm. So it's always kind of been of a public space, and it still is to this day. Like Michele said, we've had people wanted to have their wedding reception here, other public, functions. We always welcome that, because then they get to come in and look at all the beautiful artwork and say, wow, I love that. I want to take that home with me.
Or they join, or people are artists themselves, and then they wind up joining or participating in our Juried show, which is always a lot of fun. Always a lot of fun. This year it's June 10th. It's a Saturday from 5 to 8. It's free and open to the public, and it's a great time. We give away over $3,000 in awards and cash prizes. And the president added, I want to say it's going to cost him, I think it's like 4th year, that he added his own $100 bill to the mix, and gives the President Choice Award. But it was very popular, so
I pulled
every year he's got to pull out a C note and pick his favorite.
I've been president for about 5 years, and that first year I was, of course, I kind of MC the award ceremony for the show, and I kind of surprised everybody. I pulled $100 out of my pocket for the quote unquote President's Choice Award, and the rest of the board made me stick to it.
I've ordered. I ordered the ribbons. It's in there again this year.
Great.
So $400 this year.
That's awesome.
But it's fun. Yeah. I love art too, and I was, I'm a painting contractor up here. That's what I've done for pretty much a part of my career. But I do a ton of work up here. And of course, the historic restoration on all these buildings is right up my alley. I painted about 20 of the buildings on Main Street here in Central City. So it's been fun, but I was actually an art student way back when at Metro State. That's actually why I moved to Colorado, was to attend art school. And I was a art history major and a printmaking major, and I loved painting, and I don't really do art anymore. But when I got, it's probably been a decade or so since I've really.
He takes incredible photographs, but that's.
Yeah, I like, I think when you're artistically inclined, if you see the light at the right spot, or you see something that catches your eye, I've taken a couple good photographs, let's put it that way, but I'm no quote unquote photographer, so, but when I got involved with the Arts Association, I don't think a lot of people really knew my background in art, but if they ever wanted to talk about post-impressionism or modern art or Frank Stella or Rubens, I just love reading about art still to this day and viewing it. So it ended up kind of being a perfect fit, because I think like a lot of people that have an art degree, and certainly when I was an art student, I had friends and coworkers that, what are you going to do with an art degree? And basically what my shtick was back then is, and I think it's proven today that I was basically going to be a more educated and just a more schooled artist. I wasn't really going there for a career. I was going there because I loved art. I loved being around it. And then 25 years later, when I got involved with the Arts Association, and then when I was elected as the president, then it finally clicked with me, like, well, maybe that art education wasn't a total waste, or it kind of came full circle for me, because I always had that appreciation and love for art. And I think that's kind of, it's been a great thing for me to be involved with the Arts Association here. It's been fun. And I love talking to artists, talking about art. I love seeing what, people are doing. I've always thought that I was going to create my own medium, and I was going to be able to make art like no other. And that was going to be my ticket to, artistic success, but I'm still working on that.
So Michele, what's your background briefly?
So my background, I grew up in New York, just outside of Manhattan. So the way that I apply my background to here is, it's interesting how I kind of fell into this. But my background is in music and rustic woodworking. So I raised my boys in the Adirondack Mountains of New York, and there were a lot of great camps. And rustic woodworking was a huge, still is a huge thing. It's what most of the camps are made with. So you're talking about raw wood, flitched type furniture, things like that. So I had done that, and I was also a singer-songwriter for a lot of years. I have a background in opera from my young 20s. But I don't do any of that anymore. And then when I came to Colorado, Eric actually called me. He said, they're looking for an assistant manager at the gallery.
Yeah.
And I said, we have a gallery?
Yeah.
I didn't even know. So I came in, and it was like the minute I walked through the door, I fell in love with the building and the history of it. And it turns out the person that built it was from the St. Regis Valley in upstate New York. And it was, I don't know, there's just a whole lot of, I don't know, everything just came together right. So I'm not creating my own art now, but when I do hang a show, it's what I enjoy the most. You come in, you look at all these different textures and colors and mediums, and that's my time. Like, that's my art time. I'll hang a show, and
she's an art handler.
I'm an art handler.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of like it can look really nice, or it can look really pretty if you throw it on the wall. So it takes a lot of intention and thought to hang it, and that's kind of,
and she's developed wonderful relationships with the artists, and really has recruited a lot of people, not only for our board, but also with our membership. And Michele obviously is employed at the gallery by the Arts Association. So she's pretty much our link, to the outside world, and is really the face of the Arts Association. And I kind of pop in once in a while and check the books and write checks and make sure the business is of course a big part of art. I think that's kind of I think with anyone that is passionate about something, they put all their energy and effort into whatever they're passionate about, and then sometimes the actual business of that passion can be a little complicated or ignored, or what I mean. It takes a lot of time here. Yeah.
I mean, So I do put hours in as a manager, but there's a lot of volunteer work that goes into this place from a lot of people.
Big time.
The garden is going to have to get going again, and there's maintenance, and there's different things that need to be done, just like running a household or any business, really. So there's a lot that goes into it.
And people bringing food to our events. That's
he's all about the food.
Thing.
Yeah. We always have great food and snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it's really a hub of the community, what goes on there and what you both facilitate. And you're both artists. I mean, Eric, you've been involved with preserving these buildings and have painted so many of them. And then Michele, what you facilitate, being a curator, that's an art in itself. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I do, I had always thought with the painting, even though I wasn't an artist per se, it's still to this day, it still gives me satisfaction to work with color and work with brushes and
still the best paint jobs around though.
Yeah.
Still the best paint jobs around.
Definitely take a lot of pride in my work, but there is certainly an artistic angle, to that. But fortunately it's been able to, reward my bank account as well.
I think we see that in your work though. I think we see that in your work where, you approach a building to paint it, and he does have kind of an artist's eye on it where, you could see other buildings that like, look at this fly by night company, and they kick themselves forever because they just look horrific. They just approach it like, I'm going to paint some brick and walk away. And it's a little more than that for him, I think.
For sure. And I always equated it, like I said, where we kind of referenced, that feeling that was up here during the shutdown with the kind of isolation of it. But, back in the 1800s, there was no, we're going to run down to Golden and get sushi, or we're going to run to Evergreen and, go to Walmart.
Pizza.
Everything was here in this town. And with that being said, there was the local carpenter, there was the local blacksmith guy, the local butcher, and of course the local painter. So when I start to work on these old buildings, I kind of feel like we're carrying on, that tradition of craftsmanship. And, and when you look closely at these buildings and see, how beautifully built they are, or, some of the architectural features of it, you really kind of get even more of an appreciation for it. For me, and in fact, a couple winters ago, we did a big job across the street at the old Teller House Hotel. Henry Teller, that was built in 1872, and he's probably Central City's most famous citizen, who went on to be Colorado's first state senator when Colorado was, I guess, accepted into the Union in 1876. And while we were doing that job, yes, we were doing the job for the property owner, which is the Central City Opera. But when we were over there with my workers, I said, hey, we're doing this job for Henry Teller. I think he's going to be, proud of the workmanship that we did here. So I really enjoyed that.
You have to have an appreciation, I think, that goes a little bit deeper to care about these places, just like the Gilpin Arts or Washington Hall or the buildings that Eric paints. And it takes a special spirit. It's almost like, in my situation, it feels like almost like I was like thrusted into it. Like who's going to care? Well, I'll care, almost like, if you walk through the cemetery, do you walk by your own grave? Like, did we come back here? It's like the amount of people that are in this city that actually do things or care are very few. Really, yeah. It's a couple of handfuls of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that move to small mountain towns, and I think a lot of people all over America that's moved to rural areas because they want to live a quiet life and be left alone.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a mix up here of people that are really involved, and then people that could care less. They don't care about what's going on at City Hall.
But I think if you have an appreciation, it's almost like, well, yeah, how do you just walk by and watch things just kind of rot or fail? You want it to kind of I'd like to hear, if I'm alive 50 years from now, that the Gilpin Arts is still here. So it just takes certain people just to care enough until it's time to pass the torch. Gilpin Arts is definitely one of those places for sure.
So when was the Art Association originally established?
In 1947.
And then how did that all come together?
Well, basically, once the opera kicked off in 1932, that brought a lot of attention to Central City. And not only did it bring up a lot of attention, but it brought a lot of those art-minded people.
Money. It brought a lot of money.
Well, yeah, it brought some money, it certainly, but opera goers are generally, your upper class, tuxedo type of crowd. So that certainly attracted a lot of people. And then I think what happened is between, that 1932 and then when we were established in 1947 with the opera, that brought up the set directors and the set designers and the painters, and Central City all of a sudden was rediscovered. And it really turned into like this art. I wouldn't say an artist community, but it kind of did, because it was
Between the art and the music back then.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think by 1947, enough of those art-minded people congregated up here, and they basically kind of like what we do right now. It was people from the community, people from the opera, and some people from outside of Central City that wanted to form the Arts Association with the sole intent to give those Colorado artists and people from this area a place to display their work and kind of as I think a show of support for the arts, which is basically the crux of every art museum and gallery in the country and around the world, is to offer that space for people to display their stuff.
And it's a comfortable place too at the Gilpin Arts. We're very laid back, if you were to compare us to most galleries and people that run other galleries. So it's a happy, comfy spot for everyone.
And
that
it's
loves
been
art
going,
and music.
and it's been going strong ever since. It's really, really amazing.
Fascinating, really.
And in my collection of stuff, and we have an archive of documents here as well. That's the property of the Gilpin Arts Association, but they just reached out to the community and said, we're trying to do this, and this is the reason why. And they were fortunately successful to that. And 76 years later, that is still going. So it's been pretty amazing.
And some of our members too have been members for 40 plus years as well. So so not only is it still going, but we've had some very dedicated, loyal artists.
Thank goodness.
With the Gilpin Arts too, that have served on the board through the years, or given information, ways, help to make things more possible going forward into being open year round. So we've had a lot of people step up.
And another amazing thing for me is kind of with my art history background, and I'm sure with you guys, I don't know what your knowledge of art history, but if you can think of all of the different movements in art that have happened from 1947 to now, it is pretty astonishing to think about all the different artwork that's hung on these walls over the past 76 years. All the different trends, I would just love, and we've got a pretty good archive that have, old newspaper clippings and photographs of some of the shows, and to see some of the stuff from the 1970s. It's
cool.
Pretty neat to think about, how one gallery has kind of not survived, but it got to experience all those, different trends in art.
I'd like to say survived though, because COVID killed a lot of galleries.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of artists too that just had their art just locked in a building and couldn't get it, So
yeah, but
it's a very special
talking,
place.
Surviving the Vietnam War era, and just so many world events that have happened, But anyways, it's pretty interesting place. Now that
it's actually the only place like it on the planet. You're never going to walk into another building and see this layout see these walls, all these different textures of walls. You know, a lot of people think of art gallery and it's a sterile white space, and it's just got so much personality and so much texture, and it's the only place on the planet like it. Literally.
Definitely has character for sure. Go ahead, Wes. I know you were going to jump in there.
You know, since we're kind of talking about the history of the association, is it been under a bunch of different leadership, or has there been like a few people that have ran it for until you came along?
No, it's had a revolving door of presidents, vice presidents, board members, you know, and kind of like with my situation, you know, I was on the board for a few years, and then you know, the president had to step down for whatever reason. And we said, okay, well, who's going to be the next president? And then the entire board looked at my direction, and I went, okay. So I'm sure it's been a similar experience through that. But certainly in the beginning, you know, and kind of like now, there's been kind of some main characters that are kind of around for like that decade period, and then they're moving on to different things or whatever the case might be.
Yeah, I think Barbara Thielman is very active in our community, does a lot of things. And I want to say she's been on the board 10 years.
Yeah, at least.
If not longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's our corresponding secretary.
Yeah.
There you go.
She's always been her position.
How old is Barb?
She's 89.
She's
Wow.
89.
Wow, that's awesome.
Young.
Yeah.
And she runs circles around people in this town.
Yeah.
She's so involved with the Belvedere Foundation, the Main Street, Central City Main Street.
Very active in the
Gilpin
community.
Arts. Yeah.
We love having her.
Yeah, she's awesome. Actually.
Yeah. It sounds amazing. How many board members do you have?
Right now we have 10. Yeah, we got about 10 board members, and we got a president, of course, and vice president, and we've got a bookkeeper that we hire that takes care of our business, and then I'd say 6 or 7, 8 board members. You know, and that's you know, I'm sure for other nonprofits out there, if they're listening, which I know they are, you know, it's very challenging to maintain and recruit and retain people on the board.
It's the retain part.
But what we did when I became president, I changed the terms from 1 year to 2 year, so they could have a 2-year commitment and not dropping in and out like that. So a lot of people get involved with us, and they're really excited at first, and and it's a commitment.
I think a lot of people come into it like, okay, well, I'm an artist and this is what I have and this is going to propel me, and then realize that it's actual dedication. It's actually showing up. So sometimes they last long, sometimes they don't.
Well, and we
have
try
a fun group though.
Yeah, and we try to require more than just people coming to a meeting and nodding their head. We want people that are going to be on the board that are going to get involved with our events and help around the gallery and do this and that. And we don't set the expectation too high because it's a volunteer thing. And for instance, myself, I haven't made one red cent off of all the endless thousands of emails, and I can't even tell you how much my personal time this has taken up over the past 6, 7 years, 8 years, I think. But it's that's what it's not. That's not what it's about for me. So right. It's been rewarding in so many other ways.
Yeah.
So
it's a passion thing, right?
Well,
labor of love.
I think it is a labor of love. I mean, a job's a job, right? You go to a job, you go home, you clock out, you don't think about it again. It's constant with this place. Like, you go to bed. For me, it's like I go to bed thinking about it. I wake up thinking about it, and it's like
I don't do that.
Yeah,
but also,
but I do. It just takes those kinds of people.
And it's a town of under 1,000 people, so it's really boring up here. So if you move up here and live up here, and I think that was kind of one of the impetuses of my collecting habits, is you need to have a hobby and kind of extracurricular things to do, unless you want to go home and watch TV every night, which I don't, so it's been it's been a fun thing. And I've met so many cool people, so many wonderful, even Todd. I just met
great.
Todd, a few months ago, and look where we're at here. And
through another one of our dedicated board members, Jeremy Fay, our mayor and friend.
Yeah.
And he's been very I don't think he's ever missed. I think the only meeting he ever missed was when he was out of town. I think it was one in about the same amount of time.
And that's Jeremy Fay. He's the mayor of Central City, but not only that, and he doesn't hold it up too high, but he's the son of Barry Fay, the legendary
godfather of rock and roll,
the concert promoter with Fayline Productions and all that. So he comes from a pretty interesting lineage, and he moved up here about 6 years, and within 2 years of him living up here, he ran for mayor and won. And he's been pretty effective, and he's got a lot of connection. And in fact,
he's been very helpful
for our 75th anniversary last year. Because of his family and his connections with the music business, he said, "Oh, well, I think I have a guy in mind for our judge for the 75th, and we wanted to do this big celebration. We did a big banquet dinner with I put together like a historic presentation, and we had a banquet over at the Teller House across the street." And he says, "I know this guy named Robert Fleischman." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Who's that?" He's like, "Oh, he was the original lead singer for Journey." And I'm like, "Really?" "Yeah, he wrote that tune Wheel in the Sky." And, I was like, "Really?" And sure enough, he pulled it off. He actually is an artist as well, a pretty renowned artist, not only being a musician, but he lives in Racine, Wisconsin, which is close to my hometown of Milwaukee. That's where I came from before I moved out to Colorado to go to art school. And sure enough, he made it happen. And we had
he showed up, and he was so down to earth. It was so fun,
so cool. And the famous celebrity judge and some of the stories. And he was just a really gracious, amazing guy, and really an amazing artist. If you ever want to check it out, his name's Robert Fleischman. Again, people come and go through the association as far as the board of directors is concerned. And, I think through the years, different people like myself, like Michele, like Jeremy, and like so many others, they come into that volunteer situation and aren't really sure what's going to happen. But then sure enough, people have come through amazingly to kind of perpetuate the what is the the Gilpin Arts Association. So it's been great.
Yeah, I mean, the people have been fantastic. I can't, we all go through things in life, right? So sometimes you're able to do more, and sometimes you can't do as much, and everybody's been really good about,
and it's hard to
holding each other. And
it's hard to crack the whip on people who are volunteering, so we have to, it's a balance. I have to, because sometimes I'm like, "Hey, let's get going. We've got, art to sell." And, I get to get my gusto going, and it's fun to see our other board members and people in the community kind of react to that and support that, because I don't know.
Without them, we wouldn't have any of our events, really.
Oh, of course.
Our community. Yeah.
It takes a community to put something together like that. That's for
big
sure.
Time. Big time.
Yeah, we could do all we want. If nobody comes, what's the, if nobody comes to show up, it's kind of a waste of time. So we've been very lucky and fortunate that way.
Yeah.
I love this rich history that you've been educating us about. One of the things that I read on the website or on another page is that one of the first artists to exhibit there was Vance Kirkland. Is that correct?
Yes, that is. Yeah. He was another
founding member, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was we think he was a founding member. He's not on the roll call as far as some of the older letterhead and whatnot, or some of the correspondence from the Arts Association. But he was along with a guy named Frank Gates. They called him Frank Poncho Gates. He was one of the original set designers for the Central City Opera Association. He's also a famous painting. We have a couple of his pieces in our own private collection that the association owns. and Vance Kirkland definitely exhibited here. He's got, of course, if you look into his work, he's got a lot of images, paintings, and whatnot, prints from Central City. And he was definitely involved with the association and displayed here at the gallery. So he's, again, a pretty famous, Colorado artist for sure. Along with Angelo Di Benedetto, who was another probably like a resident artist that he was up here from the 1940s until the late 1980s. And he was another really prominent Colorado artist that we have some of his pieces here. And he was involved with the association. And if you go back through some of our old records and actually researched who some of these people were, we had famous architects that were supporters of the associations, people involved with the opera. So it wasn't necessarily, 100% artist driven. There was people from, different walks of life that came together to kind of make this happen way back when. And we're actually working right now with the Vance Kirkland Museum down in Denver, as well as the Denver Public Library. And they own quite a few pieces of Angelo Di Benedetto's artwork that they have in storage. And we're trying to work with them to put some of this archived art on permanent display here at the gallery. I don't think they'll give us any Kirkland pieces, but we're trying.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah, exactly.
We already have two Angelo Di Benedetto.
Yeah.
So we have his copper door and the fountain, sluice fountain.
Then we've got a couple of paintings, and I own a couple of his. I own a piece of his ceramic, and I own a couple signed silk screens that I have in my collection. That if we're able to pull this off and kind of have a little space in the gallery, that we can have kind of a permanent display of it, just as a, an appreciation, I guess, or to highlight some of that art history right here in Central City.
Jeremy knows better of the location, but Angelo Di Benedetto has art in Denver. That's
he was super
publicly
famous.
View.
That's he had a big mural on the Denver County Courthouse, I think downtown there, where it had like a bridge, and he did this big giant mural. It was like a pedestrian walkway. And there was a big mural on the ceiling of that walkway that when you enter the courthouse. So he was definitely renowned. Easily Google him and you'll find all kinds of stuff. But he was a local resident, and he actually had an art school here in one of the old warehouse buildings in Central City. And he, I've got some old articles from 1952 and 1955 that talk about his art school. It has photographs, of him, teaching the students painting and sculpture out in the garden and stuff like that. So,
and speaking of students, another one of our mission is to encourage the art with our local school, our Gilpin County schools. We correspond with the art teacher there and donate and then display for the children of the community as well.
Yeah, it's Gilpin,
Gilpin Arts.
Gilpin RE1. So that's basically the county's K-12 school. And that is listed in our mission statement, is that we are big supporters not only in donating money to their art program, but every year, and we're actually working on something right now. We try to have some sort of a student art show where we bring the kids, they bring their work, they display the work, we have an opening for them. And it's really kind of one of the highlights of the year, especially with the grade schoolers and kids who are not even remotely consider themselves an artist or a professional artist, and to see what they interpret
it's
as
so
art.
Honest, and they don't overthink it. It's just adorable.
It's fascinating, and they just love to come to the gallery and see their stuff hanging on the wall, and their parents come in, and we're actually this year we're trying to put something together to award a scholarship or a large donation to
we'll be working on a
the
grant,
art program.
hopefully.
that they have up at the RE1 school. So that is another, and I'm glad Michele touched on that, because we do try and be involved not only with adult and local artists, but up and coming artists. And I know
my favorite are the ceramics that they bring in, and when they're little, because when you're little and you have a memory, and if it's something you really want to do, that memory sticks out at you. So like to have it in a room for them, they probably remember the room way bigger than it was, and just something exciting, to see it displayed rather than put in a corner somewhere.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a big deal for us, because I know when I was in high school, in the late 1980s, art programs were in danger, and I think that's been in consistent decline as far as, school curriculum and stuff, that, art is not as important as some other things, I guess. I don't know what the reasoning is, but so that's something we're very proud of. And it's something we also want to, continue to.
Yeah, going forward,
develop.
We'd like to do more. Like he was mentioning, we've had discussions about possible scholarship award or art supply award, anything that would encourage them. Professional grant writers out there listening, call Gilpin Arts 303-582-5952.
Yeah.
That is spectacular. And I was going to ask you about that. So I'm glad that you jumped in, Michele, and made our listeners aware of what you guys facilitate outside of just being this art association and just promoting the arts in general, but giving back to the community and giving back to the school up there, and especially supporting art classes, because like you said, it's really important. It's one of those things that gets cut, all the time. Yeah.
A lot of teachers today too are taking money out of their own pockets, in order to buy supplies. So it's a big deal. So the more visitors we get and the more support we get, the more the kids get.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Hopefully.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, we're trying, but we're and we have a donation box that's into that, like right when you walk into the building. So on an annual basis, people will drop a $5 in a 10 spot. And then that's at the end of the year, we gather all that up and donate that directly, to the RE1, to their art program there. And our teacher, or the, I guess, art department director, he's a former board member of ours, and he's really a great guy. His name's Kurt Halstead. And he's an artist himself, and he's been a great guy for us to work with, and kind of shares the same feeling we have about the students and the youth up here. So
Tenant wants to acknowledge our media sponsor, New Magazine. That's NUE. You can follow both the national and the Denver edition of New Magazine on Instagram. The national edition can be found at new_magazine. And the Denver edition at new_Denver_magazine. And I want to share with you something very exciting. Check out the newly launched New Denver Gallery Guide. Look for the signage that says New Denver Gallery Guide that has a QR code. Scan it with your phone, and you have instant access to a comprehensive digital guide to Denver's finest galleries and exhibitions. Find this QR code in your favorite gallery, hotel, or coffee shop as you visit and explore Denver. Thanks for listening.
I'm Eric Miller.
And I'm Michele Roussel. And you're listening to the Tenant Podcast.
I want to take a moment and talk about the whole membership thing, what that entails, how you become a member, and what the virtues of being a member are.
So you can easily become a member online. It's a $35 is the minimum to become a member for a year. You can display your artwork here. Offers you a discount when our annual Juried show comes about. Since we are open year-round now, we've added featured artists through the winter. That also gives you an opportunity to do that. We don't charge wall space rent. We're not a co-op. We don't expect you to work or anything like that. So you get a pretty good value for the $35 and can display year-round here.
And that's the nice crux of it. So, like, again, with our mission statement, to support those members, paid members of the Arts Association, you get charged a $35 annual fee. You can sign up for that in person at the gallery or go to our website, www.gilpinarts.org, and you can join there. And basically what you get for the membership, if you would like, we offer a free space in our gallery at any time to display your artwork. And we probably
we process all your sales. We do all of that.
Yeah. So we, of course, not only display it, but try to sell it. But we have a gallery that's probably 1,500 square feet that is solely dedicated to our members. And in that gallery, we probably have 15 or 20 different members of the association that display their work.
If not more. Yeah.
If not more than that.
Thousands of items.
Yeah. We rotate the stuff. We encourage new members to, bring new artwork in, or if things have been sitting here for 6 months or a year, we encourage that same artist. But that's been a great thing, because the artists, once they join, they do that kind of on the predicate that, wow, I've got a place to actually show my stuff. And I've said it 100 times, I think the goal of every artist is to get their stuff out of their studio. So that's what, we try to facilitate for them. And beyond that, members get a reduced, entry fee. Like, for instance, with CaFÉ, with the Juried show, if you're a member, you can get a little bit of a
$10 coupon.
Yeah, we give them a coupon and give them a little break. We used to do a newsletter, stuff like that, but we try to, keep our website up to date. But I think for $35, we try to communicate and stay in touch with the membership and let them know that, hey, we're here, promoting your artwork and, dropping your name and whatnot. So I think.
And there's always an opportunity for the artists to, during the opera season, to come in, and we call it volunteer, but more or less to be greeters and to kind of talk about their art, their artwork, and just kind of engage with people. And they love to, a lot of them love to do it and just find a nice, calm, peaceful place to come up in the summers.
Yeah, and we get tons of great reaction from artists who come in here for the first time, and they're like, oh, wow, this place is so cool. And, and of course, we encourage them to join. And then once they do, then they really kind of engage not only with the Arts Association, but the space we have here at the gallery. And I've never heard a negative comment from a member once they've joined. Some people really get into it. And, they're like, wow, this is so cool. And it's kind of like an association, but it's kind of like a little kind of family
like
aspect
a club
too.
Or something. Yeah, like a friendly club.
Yeah, because a lot of those members who engage with us, they end up being friends. They end up volunteering. They end up, kind of like you, Todd. Where we met you and you said, hey, I've got something to offer, and we like this place, and kind of each relationship with our members start like that, and
and then friendships. We've made friendships, and
we've had people like Michele said, that have been with us, for decades, and continue to support and pay their membership, and it's
even
it's
if they don't paint anymore, they still support and pay their membership and try to visit the events that we have and the openings. So it's a family in a lot of essence, I think, in so many ways.
Without all the BS. No, I'm just kidding.
Without the Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
So to be a member, you don't have to live there. You don't have to be an artist necessarily, right? So just laymen can be members if they want. Is that a different pay schedule, or is it the same?
Well, we have different tiers of membership. Like you can become a lifetime member for, I think, 500. It's on our website, but we have like the gold level and the silver level and whatnot.
Oftentimes, the artists that don't participate, or the members that are not artists or don't make art anymore, create anything anymore, those are usually our biggest memberships. Anywhere from 55, they'll pay 100. Some will just donate money and, 400, 300. So we also sell memorial bricks here, which is another way to kind of honor your loved one. or your pet or your friend, and they don't have to be deceased to do
Yeah,
it.
we have a little brick paver floor that's in one of the galleries, and then
You get engraved bricks.
yeah,
So
then
you
people
can
need
use it to put on.
to get their memorial brick, and then we install them for them for eternity. Yeah, it's kind
So
of like
what do they run?
They're $60 a piece.
yeah, and that information's on our website as well.
I think a tenant brick is going to come.
I think you should. I think that would be wonderful.
Let's do it.
Let's do a
Wanna do
tenant
it?
brick.
All right.
It's super
Let's do
cool
it.
because they're
Everybody reads them.
Yeah.
Everyone that comes in, they
yeah,
stop.
you walk in and it's it's just neat to see what people have dedicated stuff to their pets.
Yeah, we have Shorty the cat. My
yeah.
mom bought me one. I'm like, Mom.
Right.
You know,
I guess I need a brick.
you need a brick.
You need a brick.
Yeah. Okay. Put that on my schedule.
There you go. There you go. In between painting houses and running a nonprofit.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
What is your membership like as far as like how many members do you have? Do you know off the top of your head?
It kind of goes up and down. So we're always at like 100 to 120. Some they might expire, but then they'll rejoin, so we have a lot of people that rejoin. And then I don't know, I got a few new members that I've never met before, just come through yesterday, I think it was, online. So
yeah, and that's always
I would say it like caps at 100 to 120.
Yeah, consistent.
And it's increased through the years, which has been great.
Yeah.
When I first started here, I think it was the membership, we had like 75 people or something.
Yeah, it's pretty low. And to be quite honest with you guys, we've been operating on a budget of about $75,000 a year or less.
It's less, yeah.
And we rely on some funding from the city of Central. We rely on donations, but considering the finances that it takes to run other galleries and I guess situations that might be similar, we've had some people that have commented that once they say, what, you operate on what, they're pretty astonished that we've been able to, maintain and put on the shows that we've done consistently.
And so many more of them now that we're open year round.
So it's truly a grassroots operation.
This is though a city owned building, so we don't have the overhead of rent, which is fantastic because the electric heating went through the roof this year for everybody. So I'm glad we don't have that. So that helps as well. We're not paying this rent and all
but
that
basically
stuff.
When the Arts Association was established and they moved in here, they basically signed like a
lifetime lease or something.
Yeah, like
99 years.
Yeah, 100-year lease with the city, and that's
and they honor it, and the city honors it.
Yeah,
and they fund us for it too.
Yeah, because the city, they want, of course they love the gambling. That's 80% of their budget on an annual basis, but they also want to encourage other types of non-gaming type of business, that can attract more of a tourist base. So we have the support of the city, and they've been, pretty crucial to our existence. And once they moved, the city hall was located in the lower part of the building, which now in a space that the Gilpin County Historical Society occupies, and they do tours of the Teller House, tours of the Opera House out of that. But they kind of encouraged us a few years ago, and I think Michele hit on the heating system, because for the past 65 years, 70 years, it was Memorial Day to Labor Day operation. And the art gallery was only open in the summer months. So they approached us and said, well, and it was kind of a mutual conversation that there was no heating system in the building for all those years. It literally shut down, got winterized until the following spring. So they kind of approached us and said, well, we're trying to, encourage, year-round type of attraction. And if we help you guys install a heating system, would you consider going, on a year-round basis? And we said, absolutely, but we're going to need help with funding that operation in the winter months.
And it's a
because
limited time in the winter. It's
Yeah.
not full. It's not 7 days a week.
yeah, we have, kind of a
Limited hours.
Thursday to Sunday schedule during the winter, and then come Memorial Day, we're open 7 days a week.
Wow.
So
Okay.
That's crazy.
that's yeah.
Yeah.
So we said, yeah, we'd love to do that, but we're going to require some, I guess, underwriting or grant money from the city. And they did that with the Historical Society as well.
And the opera. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, those
That's
things are
good.
important for a community. I mean, you got to have arts of some sort. I think it's just, well, it's kind of the character of the city. If when you have good art programs, whether it's music or visual, it only empowers the city. I think it's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Central City Opera, they're only up here for now a couple of months in the summer. The opera festival used to happen, from like June to August, and now it's basically July and August. So they're really only in town for a couple months, and it still is a major, I guess, artistic and musical attraction to the city. But as far as we're concerned, we're here. The Opera Association is based in Denver, and their brick and mortar operation is down there. They bring their whole crew up, and the actresses and the actors and singers and all that. Everyone comes from another location and calls it home here for the summer, or for a couple months anyways now. But we're here year round, so
Casinos can come and go, but art is the oldest form of expression, whether it's music or visual art or any kind of expression like that. So I don't think art is going anywhere anytime too soon, So it's important that we keep this place going for another 50,
we make the city well aware of that, because some of the people on city council and some of the people that work at City Hall, we don't ever see them at our openings, or at our events and stuff like that. So we kind of have to, I usually go up in front of the city council once a year and kind of give them our spiel and say, hey, this is,
He's the businessman, so he does a good job.
Yeah,
You're doing the pitch,
Yeah, I love the art and everything, but there's a business to be run here at the same time. So I kind of touched that earlier, where if you neglect that, then
it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's always somebody that wants to shut down the arts. Like, why are we spending all this money on this? And
they probably couldn't draw or something in kindergarten. I don't know. I don't understand people like that, but there's always that stickler that's like, what do we need it for? And it's so much more than just something to look at.
Yeah. So you make money with memberships, city funding, and donations. Do you do much of do you get any grants from like Colorado's Humanities or anything? Have you done much grants?
There's a couple private foundations that we've applied to on an annual basis, but
like the Alan Green Foundation.
We're talking.
It's a small one though. You talk a couple of grand.
Yeah,
tops.
Yeah, and we had our fundraiser last year, and basically what that comprised was a silent auction of donated art, and we try and do that every year. And each time we do that, we try to set aside that money for a specific reason. And the last year's fundraiser, we tried to allocate that money to actually hire a professional grant writer, but wow, is that expensive, and we've gotten in touch with grant writers that were associated with the opera, because they're another huge 501c3, but they've got an operating budget of $30 million a year.
Yeah,
every year.
It's costly, and there's no guarantee. So I think that's why we're still on the fence. Yeah, I think we've talked about it for years. But
so we do get money, and then as far as back to the membership, we do a 60-40 split on the art. So we do generate income from
the 40%.
Yeah, from the sale of art. So that helps, maintain our operation. And basically at this point, we are a nonprofit. So our goal has never been to, like it's totally sales driven and, we're totally focused on generating income. At this point, obviously with the budget that we work with, we're just trying to maintain this operation for the future, you know, and that's really, really our goal. You know, we'd love to have, you know, a bunch of money in the bank and be able to do more with that money. But unfortunately, right now, that's not reality.
It all boils down to dedicated people with the Gilpin Arts, really.
Well, and a dedicated checkbook would be nice too.
That would be nice.
I'm glad you spoke to the whole commission thing and how that operates and how that fits into the whole model of the gallery and the association. Let's talk a little bit about the gallery. How large of a space is this?
Well, it's about 3,000 square foot. So we're located on the second floor of Washington Hall, and originally Washington Hall was like a, you know, let's say it's 50 by 20 foot rectangular building. And then behind the building, there was a stone barn. Okay. And we've got old photographs that we like to show people kind of the development. But what ended up happening is from the original building, the association raised money and expanded to the rear of the building. And then 10 years later, they raised more money and expanded to the west and added a wing where the water feature display, the sluice room, we call it, which was installation of a kind of mining sluice water feature that Angelo Di Benedetto did in, I think, 1972. And then a few years later, it was expanded into the east. So,
and then the garden was put in 1974, right? So yeah, they started the gallery was only in the courtroom. You had been in here, Todd, in that main room when you come in from 1947 to 1959, and in 1959 was when they started the expansion of the gallery, and it just kind of kept going through the decades.
Yeah, so it started off in that main core room, and then over the years, piece by piece, developed into what you see it today. But it's super neat because it's a kind of mixture of this old building that has uneven floors and, you know, wanky, you know, it's
not a plum corner in here.
Yeah, but then as it expands, they actually expanded it into an old horse barn. So we have about a 600 square foot room that's all with stone walls from the turn of the century. So you have all these different.
That was 1864, that room.
Right. So you have all these different textures within the gallery of wood, you know, batten board wood walls, and
it makes it very interesting.
Yeah, clean white walls, and then stone walls
and wooden walls, which are all the original planks that were milled back in the 1800s. And
yeah, so it's a pretty neat space in the way that they, you know, developed it. It's pretty cool. And from the front of the building, when you look at it, you know, we get the reaction all the time when people actually come up into the gallery and then step into the, you know, some of our different spaces in here. They're astonished, like, wow, we didn't know all this was back here, because it just looks like a little 2-story building from the front. And then when you get up and in here, it's, you know, there's all sorts of little areas to explore. And we have a neat garden area in the back that's got,
spring and summer.
You know, we put sculpture out there, and it's got a little water feature, and we have volunteers that, you know, come help and plant flowers every year. And it's people just love it. It's a wonderful, like, little Zen area, you know, to hang out, and people go back there and smoke and drink coffee and, you know, congregate, you know, during our shows in the summer. So
in the summer, I have people that just come in and go, oh, I couldn't wait to come back up. And they'll sit in the garden for an hour and a half, sometimes 2. I have people that sometimes will spend like 5 hours here and just hang out and have lunch. And it's a nice little retreat for people.
It's very engaging, for sure.
And we're very welcoming here too. It's not a hooty tooty place. It's very, very laid back and down to earth. And I think people appreciate that.
I concur. That's the vibe that I totally got when I came and visited a couple months ago. Yeah. Talk about this incident, since we're talking about the gallery, where the floor actually collapsed.
Oh, at the turn of the century, it was a Republican convention in here.
Yeah.
And I guess it's said that like 200 people fell through the floor. went down to what we know is the jail cell area now in the foyer. I guess someone knocked over a oil lamp and stuff, but there was no fire. And
I think it was the 1876, 1878.
Later 1800.
Yeah,
it's on the front of the building. Actually,
so I should probably know this, but
I want to say it was like 1899, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I can only keep track of so many Central City factoids. But they had the Republican, the state Republican convention in Washington Hall, and they loaded up so many people on the second floor that it actually collapsed and sank down into the first floor of the building. I think there was a couple of injuries, but
nobody died.
Yeah.
A few people left and never came back in because they became superstitious about it.
Right.
I don't know if it was the fact that it was a Republican convention or the floor collapsed. I'm not sure why, but I've read stuff about that too.
Yeah. But that did happen, and really, what's really neat is in the main gallery area, there's still the original judge's bench and the little raised platform for the jury and the witness stand. All that stuff is still in the building. In that area where it collapsed, obviously, this was all put together and repaired after that event, but you don't really notice it because there's so much art and bric-a-brac and stuff everywhere. But yeah, to see that old judge's bench and to imagine what happened there, I mean, you're talking serious business that took place at that bench and in this courtroom area here. I can't even imagine, the legal precedents and murder charges and theft and divorces and just
horse thieves.
Yeah, horse thieves. Yeah, who knows?
Plane jumpers.
Yeah. So that's again, you kind of get that vibe, when you're walking around town here and you see them old photographs and kind of close your eyes and imagine what it was like back then. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, this building's been through a lot of changes through the years. Even the staircase is not an original staircase. That one in the direction that it does coming up went in. What did we read in that clipping? It was like 1969.
Yeah.
So a lot of changes here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, from 1947, they kept scrapbooks that we still retain here at the gallery that have, anything and everything related to the Arts Association, but a lot of newspaper clippings, not only about the art shows and the artists, but as things kind of developed. And I think in the 1980s, the Colorado Corps of Engineers, the U.S. Army, somehow they got them to rebuild the bell tower that sits on the side of the building here. So there's articles about that, and it still has the original fire bell up there that says, the city of Central on it.
And when you're up here next time, you can ring it, Todd.
Yeah. People love when we let them pull
they
the
love
chain
it.
and
they love it.
give the old bell a gong. And I just live up the street about a block. I can actually kind of see the Opera House from my front yard. And once in a while on a Saturday morning at 10:15, I hear the bell go off and I'm like, oh, who the hell's at the gallery? Or we think it's a tourist because it's kind of outside on a stairwell. You don't have to come into the gallery to ring the bell. So sometimes once in a while, I think people come up and just, have a good time and give it a ring,
That is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite part of the building from the outside.
Well, definitely next time I'm up there, I'm going to ring the bell.
Definitely ring the bell.
How many exhibitions do you guys put on a year, typically?
So we've really increased it through being here year round. We have our main ones. So we have our Juried show, which is in June. Then typically we used to follow that with the members show, but the last couple of years we've had an account with the Colorado Watercolor Society. So that's another show after our Juried show. We have worked with the plein air. We don't now. And then after that is our members show, and then we have featured shows. So anywhere from maybe 6 solid shows a year, I think, and that including the kids and stuff when they have their stuff.
We kind of do things on a quarterly basis, and I will touch the other aspect of joining as a membership of the Gilpin Arts Association is once a year we have a show and an opening that is exclusive and free for our membership. So we announce that, we put it out there and say, bring your artwork in, and that's always a big highlight for the membership because again, to get that work out of the gallery and see it on display, seeing other people appreciate it,
and the opportunity to sell it too makes people very happy.
Yeah.
And we always open a show with a nice reception, an opening reception. Sometimes we'll also do a closing gathering as well, for like kind of last chance to buy and to see the artwork. Also, to kind of just go back to the membership, we do have an annual members meeting once a year as well, so that we ask our membership to come and give input, ideas,
and that's
all that kind of stuff too. We forgot to say that. So
well, our annual members meeting is actually
in the fall. Usually.
Yeah, it's in the fall, but it's actually a requirement of our 501c3 because we have a paid membership. So that's actually, I mean, it's not like something legally we have to do, but it's a good opportunity for our membership to come to the gallery, to visit with the board. Yeah, we go over our financial situation, we go over our sales figures, to let them know that, we're working here on your behalf as being a member. And we usually get a pretty good turnout. And we get, ideas, and people love to come and, say, yeah, this is great, or let's try this, or, we'd love to do that. And then as far as our annual calendar and the art shows, what's been fun, of course, we have our 76th Juried show this year. So that is an event that happens every year.
It's our staple.
Yeah, between June and August. And then we have that member show, which is another staple that we do every year. And then the past few years, like Michele had said, we've developed relationships with the Colorado Pastel Society. We developed a relationship with the Colorado Watercolor Society. And we've had their featured show that
state shows here
that they do for their membership. So the Colorado Watercolor Society, they have their own jury show, and we basically display that for them. We've also been pretty involved for the past 5 years with the Plein Air event. That's usually in September, but that's more of a weekend type of event and show. And then what's really been great is the past few years, and especially now that we've been open in these winter months, we've kind of plucked artists from our membership that either have been selling work or have showed interest, or they've been a little bit more involved, or really there's no criteria.
Or have the amount of work.
Yeah, or have a quantity of work because we have so much space here. Mm-hmm. And we do featured shows for those members.
And that's been a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, just a specific photographer or a specific painter. And then that kind of fills in the schedule between some of those staple shows that we have every year.
And it gives us a nice little break in the winter too, because it's a long show, at least this year. So it gives you a nice break to kind of work on the Juried show and what's to come, because there's all that back end work and stuff that comes with that. And it comes quick, once it hits, it hits. So
yeah, and we're always trying to, approach other artists and trying to come up with new and kind of different ideas to have art on display, because of course we want to rotate work through the gallery. We just don't want to display stuff and leave it in here for 10 years and hope that, so we try to, keep things fresh. And then kind of in between all of that, we've done all sorts of little events, like our fundraiser. That's another staple we do every year, but that's just a one night thing. But
we've done little things like birdhouse painting.
Yeah, we've done Christmas ornament decorations and craft classes and yoga and all sorts of different little things to kind of fill in the blanks between those shows, or even while the shows are on display. We like to have, little fun events that, at least people can get their eyes on the artwork, and get people into the gallery. Because again, in the wintertime, it's pretty quiet up here, and we're trying with Facebook and with our social media. We've had several members on our board who have been more inclined in that department, but we're trying to promote the work there, and that's been a big thing for me the past few years, was getting a newer, updated website, kind of getting, kind of hip with that, and the Facebook thing, and kind of promoting, because again, we want to show our members that we are promoting their artwork, and not that we have to, but just as to let them know, because they are a paid membership. We really, try to make sure that they see that we're, doing our part to show them that we actually are supporting them, instead of just taking their membership and, they never hear from us again,
Right.
Well, I would say $35 is a lot of bang for your buck.
I think
Comes-
so too.
I don't think it gets any better than that, man.
Lot of work.
Yeah,
So
every
it's-
year
it's
we
good.
talk about raising it, and everyone votes no.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go to 50 this year, and everyone's like, no, let's keep it reasonable, but
I say but
again, we're obviously not in it for the money. That's not what it's about for us. So, it's about the art.
it's not what floats the gallery, the membership per se.
Right.
I mean,
It
yes,
helps.
but
Yeah.
but-
But
they
maybe
bring so
40
much
next
more.
year. Maybe you should go
Yeah.
40 next year.
I think so.
Still reasonable, under 50, but
Yeah.
not 35.
right.
Yeah.
And again, no wall space rentals, no requirement to work. No,
See? Yeah.
just enjoy yourself and come up, and it's pretty much all I ask.
That inflation's a killer, though.
Mm.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's $40 everything, right? Whether it's bread or
Yeah,
everything's gone up. Yeah.
everything.
As we start to wrap this up, I want to kind of finish up by talking a little bit more about the Juried show. Been going on. This is the 76th year.
76 consecutive year. Yep.
How many artists typically participate? Is there kind of an average number that
About 100.
enters each year?
Well, since I've been here, it's varied. Last year, which was odd, we were celebrating our 75th, and we had 75 applicants. But typically, I see them anywhere from 80 something to 99, maybe 100, and that's usually what we get. Hopefully, it increases this year a little bit.
Yeah. Then what we do is then they have, I think, a $50 entry fee.
It's $50 for a non-member and $40 for a member
Yeah.
with a coupon code.
So basically what we try to do, what the formula with the Juried show is, that we give away $3,000. Last year we gave away $5,000 for our 75th anniversary, but we try to have the entry fees compensate for the money that we give away. So at least we can break even, maybe make a little bit more off of it to cover, food, beer and wine, entertainment, stuff like that.
Yeah, we usually just make what we give away for
Yeah.
the most part.
Yeah.
So that's really what that is generated for. It's just so we can actually have the event.
And we started doing the CaFÉ thing about 3 years ago. So that's been a huge success. And what that did was it opened it up to kind of a nationwide audience, where before, traditionally, I guess, in years past, they only allowed artists from the region, states connected to Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, Kansas, in the general area. But now with the CaFÉ, we've been able to open it up to applicants nationwide. And that's been fun for us, because
It makes the process a lot easier. When I started here, people were still submitting through the mail, sending pictures via email and all that. So it's a really great way to collect all the data we need, keep it in one place, and make it easily visible for everybody, and have the same quality image for everyone to look at. So that's been really, really fantastic, I think, for the gallery by using CaFÉ.
Do you have to pay a fee to use that?
We do. I think we have a basic membership with them, and it's like 300 and something a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can use it throughout the year. You don't just have to use it for that one event. So yeah, and I don't know as far as being an artist if they have to pay. I think it's a free membership when they sign in there. I'm not sure, But on our end, yeah, it's a service we pay for.
Mm-hmm. And it's well worth it because we get all the images, all the information, everything comes to
One
us.
place.
In one shot. So it's really kind of streamlined.
And that's a lot. So I mean, if you think back to the past of 70 something years of doing it with collecting floppy disks or CDs or just images mailed in the mail or people bringing it in going, do you like this? You know, I mean, so it's been really great, but also kind of makes you respect the work that went into this place years ago.
Right.
Even more so.
Yeah.
So of the three different categories, 2D, 3D, mixed media, and photography, what tends to be the most popular?
2D and photography.
Okay.
We get a ton of 2D, a lot of painters, lots and lots of painters, but photography and paintings are by far the most that we get in submissions.
Yeah, and we've noticed too over the past years, you know, some of the 3D sculpture type of work, fiber arts, which we used to have a category for. We see those entries are, you know, kind of
less and less every year.
And I love sculpture, you know, Rodin. I mean, that's just
I think the age groups that know of us and the people involved just don't do it anymore. That used to. So it's been kind of cool to have it out to all 50 states. And we've gotten things from other people from out of state, whether it's jewelry or some kind of sculpture, but we still don't get a ton of it.
Yeah, we do get jewelry stuff, but the majority is the 2D. And one form of art that I love, like I said, with my former major was printmaking, and we don't see a lot of that either. We see some silk screens, not really a lot of lithography. You know, we
have just one artist that did that.
Yeah, I would like to see more prints, but again, I'm not that involved with art. I don't know if that's a medium that's going by the wayside. I would hate to think so. I don't think so, but I think the more technology develops, I think more of those traditional, hands-on medium. I don't know. I think we see less and less of that because, in the digital age, it's, I guess, easier. Or I'm not sure about that, but we get some beautiful, just unbelievably beautiful paintings, drawings, photographs. It's pretty astonishing, and it's a great thing for us and our board members to put the show on every year, and consistently we're pretty amazed with the quality of artwork that comes in and the stuff that gets juried in, because we hire jurors for each one of those categories, and then we hire a judge that comes in once all the work is juried in. We hang it all in the gallery, and then we have a judge come in, and then that judge picks, first place, second place for the different categories. And it's always interesting to see what the judges pick versus, our opinions of what we think is the best piece or whatever. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. And
every year the jurors change. Every year the judge changes. And that's always fun too, to see what different people pick. We get a lot of new photographers and painters too, just because of the juror, and who the juror is, and who they choose. And then they come in and they go, wow, I want to be a member, and so it's always fun to see what people choose, and look forward to that every year. So it's not always the same person, the same perspective that's choosing the artwork.
How many pieces in each category get juried into the show?
So for your $50 or $40 application fee, your submission fee, you get 3 images. So you can submit 1 or up to 3. Some people will pay again to submit 6. We've had that happen too.
Yeah, but generally, by the time the show is hung, we probably have room for about 200 different pieces of art.
Depending on size, but,
depending on the size of them. And I would say 30% of those are photographs, 40% are paintings, another 20% are just, different stuff, whether it's encaustic paintings or, who knows, prints and whatnot. But yeah, we've got quite a room, quite a bit of space in here, and it's just really neat to see it all hung up and kind of the way Michele kind of curates everything and makes everything make sense when it's on the wall. And of course, we have to put all the name tags up and the prices and everything like that.
But when it comes to a juror, though, you can choose either none of the three images, one of the three images, or all three. So we have artists that have had all of their work selected that they've entered. Some maybe just get one in, or but you can choose up to three of those images as well.
And some people actually get, a little offended that they didn't get into the show. It's like, hey, it's not up to us. We're,
Yeah.
we have no control over that.
That's the good part. I get to say, well, I didn't choose anything.
Right. So it leaves us kind of biased to the whole thing, and also when we're awarding that money, that's a big. It's really a lot of fun for me personally because we kind of MC the show and to see the people, everyone
They get
gathers
so
here at the
excited.
gallery. We get 100, usually 100 plus people for that event. We have food and wine, and then when we start the program to start handing out the money, and everyone's kind of waiting in anticipation, and the artists that actually come to the event, of course, we have. Now that we have submissions, that are nationwide, not everybody can make it to that opening, but a lot of the people, when they know they're accepted into the show, they come from far and wide to attend that event and to see their face. And we make ribbons, that we hang with the piece, and we give them the ribbon and the check, and that's just really the big thrill for me every year to see their reactions and, oh my God. And, their family members are here with them or their friends. And it's just,
for me, it's go time right up until that. And even though it's a busy night, it's always one of my favorites. It's always fun to see how,
you got to come, Wes.
How happy.
I'm excited.
Yeah. It's really that's the reward, is to, and of course, I think for an artist, the thrill of selling a piece is one thing, but to maybe not sell the piece, but still get an award or a cash prize for it, I think is pretty fun too.
It is fun. And then they get bragging rights too.
Oh yeah. And I was involved with that, when I was an art student, of course we had shows that we would submit to. And even when I was in high school, applying for different art schools, and you would send the slides of your portfolio to the Chicago Institute of Art and Design or wherever, and to get, even a response or an acknowledgement that, hey, you're doing a good thing, and, we like this art. Yeah. It's really a lot of fun because unfortunately, probably some of the best artists out there, kind of like musicians and stuff like that too, they get zero recognition, and for whatever reason, they never got recognized for that talent or that effort they put into that medium. So again, kind of to bring that full circle, that's what the Gilpin County Arts Association is about, is to foster that type of an environment for an artist, that might not be recognized. Or we get a lot of people in here who say, oh, I don't know if my artwork is good enough to be in here. And we're like, absolutely it is. Come on in. We've got a whole show in this room of sixth grader artwork, and people love it. So, so again, that's kind of what we're really about, is to give those artists opportunity and a space to display their craft, and it's rewarding for us. It's rewarding for them. And, if we or them make a little money on the meantime, that's, I guess, the icing on the cake.
Yeah, that's awesome. So awesome. Anything else you guys want to mention or talk about, promote before we sign off for the evening?
Nothing I can think of. Go to CaFÉ and go to Gilpin Arts 76th Annual Juried Show and submit your artwork.
I got all kinds of things I could talk about. But I know we only got it.
To another show.
Yeah.
Just him.
Yeah, we certainly we encourage, anyone, if you've never been to Central City, or if you've never been to Colorado, which I've met all kinds of people who've never been to Colorado. It's a beautiful state, it's a beautiful area, and definitely if you're in Central City, stop by and see us at Washington Hall. We're at
117 Eureka Street in Central City, directly across from the Opera House, where the yellow building with the big bell tower.
Yeah,
And
can't miss it.
If you don't find any art you like, you'll probably walk away with a friend or something.
Mhm.
It's just a great place. It's comfortable.
And definitely, please check out our website. I know it sounds catty now, but follow us on Facebook. Yeah, don't follow me. Follow the Arts Association, and definitely check us out. And if you're interested in getting involved with us, and like I said, a lot of our board members, people that have volunteered, friendships that we made have been made simply by somebody just walking into this building and saying, "Wow, this is cool," and we go, "Yep, we agree," and it all starts with that there. So
Yeah.
if you're up, come on up and see us and check our website out. And
And right now we're still on winter hours, so Thursday through Sunday from 11 to 4, unless there's a snowstorm, then we probably won't be open. Other than that, we go full time May 1st from 7 days a week from 10 to 6.
And of course, Wes and Todd, thank you for giving us this
Yes, thank you
opportunity.
very much.
We've been trying to push the Gilpin Arts Association into the digital age, and
It's not as easy as it sounds.
yeah, we're trying, but we feel like we're a little bit behind the times, but we're trying, But of course, we're in Central City, so what do you expect, right?
It's part of the charm, though, because I do find when people come in, there is something really special about customer service in an old school way. Everybody's so fed up with talking to machines or getting nowhere, and everything is so sterile and no personality anymore. And I think that's one thing that people appreciate and keep coming back for at Gilpin Arts as well.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you so much for taking this opportunity to sit down with us and have a great discussion about the history of the Gilpin County Arts Association and all the history and what you're doing. You're doing important work for the community. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Michele and Eric, I second what Wes just said, and thank you guys for what you do for the community and what you do for arts in general, and what the Gilpin County Arts Association does, not only for Central City, but also for Colorado. So thank you for your time. We really appreciate you spending a couple hours with us, and I look forward to seeing you both very soon.
Very soon.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you.
If you'd like more information on the Gilpin County Arts Association and their upcoming 76th annual Juried Art Show, head on over to gilpinarts.org. That's GILPIN arts.org. And you can also follow them and see what they're up to on their Gilpin County Arts Association Facebook page. Don't forget, the deadline to enter the Juried Show is coming up April 15th. So get out there and get your art together and get entered. As usual, I will have all this and more in this week's episode notes. For the Tenant Podcast, I'm Todd Pearson.
And I'm Wes Brown. Have a great week.